if it had not been for the Lord on my side, tell me where would I be? Where would I be? If it had not been, oh, for the Lord on my side, tell me where would I be? Where would I be? Tell me where would I be? Where would I be? Praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him. Jesus, blessed Savior, He's worthy to be praised. Sing praise Him, oh, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him. Jesus, blessed Savior, is worthy to be praised. From the rising of the sun to the going down, unto the going down of the same. Jesus is worthy, Jesus is worthy, Jesus is worthy, He's worthy to be praised. Oh, praise Him, come on and praise Him. Oh, praise Him, yes, praise Him. Jesus, blessed Savior, He's worthy to be praised. From the rising of the sun to the going down, unto the going down of the same. Jesus is worthy, Jesus is worthy, Jesus is worthy, He's worthy to be praised. Praise Him, oh, praise Him, oh, praise Him, let's praise Him. Jesus, blessed Savior, Lord, you're worthy to be praised. We bring sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord. We bring sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord, and we offer unto Him the sacrifices of thanksgiving, and we offer unto Him the sacrifices of. Come, let me hear you. We bring sacrifice. We bring sacrifice of praise, oh, into the house of the Lord. We bring sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord, and we offer unto Him the sacrifices of thanksgiving, and we offer unto Him the gonna sing some faster choruses now. I'm gonna. Oh, what a wonderful thing, a very wonderful thing, to be free from sin and of Christ within, to be made a joint heir with Jesus my Lord. What a wonderful, wonderful thing. Oh, what a wonderful thing, a very wonderful thing, to be free from sin and of Christ within, to be made a joint heir with Jesus my Lord. What a wonderful, wonderful thing. Will it soon be done? All troubles and trials, when I get home on the other side, I'm gonna shake my hands with the elders. I'm gonna tell all the people good morning. I'm gonna sit down beside my Jesus. I'm gonna sit down and rest a little while. Will it soon be done? Will it soon be done? All troubles and trials, when I get home on the other side, I'm gonna shake my hands with the elders. I'm gonna tell all the people good morning. I'm gonna sit down beside my Jesus. I'm gonna sit down and rest a little while. Press along, saying, press along in God's own way. Press along, saying, press along in God's own way. Persecution you must bear, trials and crosses in our way. Oh, the battle is bigger, the victory. Press along, saying, press along in God's own way. Press along, saints, press along in God's own way. Persecution you must bear, trials and crosses in our way. Oh, the hotter the battle, the sweeter the victory. Feel like pressing, feel like pressing, feel like pressing my way. I'm on my way to glory, and I know I'm pressing my way. I am pressing, I am pressing, I am pressing my way. I'm on my way to glory, and I know I'm pressing my way. Won't it be a time when we get over yonder? Won't it be a time when we get over yonder? Won't it be a time when we get over yonder? Whoa, won't it be a time? Oh, we're gonna sing and shout, we're gonna dance about when we get over yonder. Sing and shout, dance about when we get over yonder. Sing and shout, we're gonna dance about when we get over yonder. Whoa, won't it be a time? Won't it be a time when we get over yonder? Won't it be a time when we get over yonder? Won't it be a time when we get over yonder? Whoa, won't it be a time? John was in that spirit, and it was on the Lord's day, and he heard a voice from heaven, and this is what he said: I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Behold, I live forevermore. Hush, hush, somebody's called my name. Hush, oh, somebody's called my name. Believe it. Hush, hush, somebody's called my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? I am so glad. Well, I am so glad that I've got salvation in time. I am so glad that I've got salvation in time. I am so glad I've got salvation in time. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Hush, hush, somebody somebody's calling my name. Hush, oh, somebody's calling my name. Hush, oh, somebody's calling my name. Oh, my Lord, what shall I do? It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Well, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not my mother nor my father, but it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. It's not my mother nor my father, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Well, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Well, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Well, it's not my sister nor my brother, but it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. It's not my sister nor my brother, but it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. Oh, well, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Redemption coming, praise the Lord. What a wonderful freedom, glory to his name. Redemption coming, praise the Lord. Redemption coming, praise the Lord. What a wonderful freedom, glory to his name. Redemption coming, praise the Lord. Redemption coming, praise the Lord. What a wonderful freedom, glory to his name. Redemption coming, praise the Lord. If you know the Lord is keeping you, what you gonna worry about? If you know the Lord is keeping you, why won't you sing and shout? Glory, hallelujah, praise his name. Every day he's just the same. If you know the Lord is keeping you, why worry about? Tell me if you know the Lord is keeping you. Tell me what you gonna worry about. If you know the Lord is keeping you, then why won't you sing and shout? Singing glory, hallelujah, praise his name. Every day is just the same. If you know the Lord is keeping you, why worry about? Hallelujah, anyhow. Never let your problems get you down. Hallelujah, anyhow. One more time, sing. Hallelujah, anyhow. Never let your problems get you down. When temptation come your way, hallelujah, anyhow. Amen. 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 One more time. Amen. 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 Praise the Lord.
So, good afternoon again. Right, so this evening's AY's program will be done by the Women's Ministries Department, given that it's Women's Day of Prayer today. And this afternoon, we want to look at what I think to be a very important topic, If you just hear the name, you might think it to be boring, but trust me, there is a lot to be learned, and there is a lot of things that will come out of this afternoon's session. The program is intended to be educational, to be enlightening, and to provide some clarity on a number of issues. It is to help those who are approaching the big 4-0 and beyond, what to expect, what to do, those who are going through this particular period to make sense of it, how to cope, and for young ladies, adolescents, or teenagers, you know, for them to start thinking about this particular phase of their life and what sort of plans they ought to be making mentally, professionally, financially for these years that are to come if we don't die, or if they don't die. And for our men and boys to better understand and have an appreciation for the changes that we as women go through, and perhaps to explain why mommy so miserable sometimes. I'm sure my children will say I'm a very miserable mommy, but maybe after this afternoon's presentation, they'll be able to better understand why that is so. Okay, so we're going to look at this whole aging process. And I found something online, a lady recounting her own experience of the aging process. And I found it so hilarious, and I said I'd like to share it. Now, this is what she says. I keep seeing some old lady's hands sticking out from my sleeves. There I am, going about my work, and bam, old lady hands typing, reaching for my dishes, and kapow, old lady hands cooking. These hands are quite confusing, with their veins and sunspots and loose skin. What is happening? Whose grandma is wearing my jewelry? She continued to say, I turned 40 this year. 40, which is so weird because I've always been young. I've been young my whole life, in fact. No matter how I dissect this, I've aged out of the young category and graduated to the middle group. Now, some persons, when they get to age 40 and beyond, you're no longer referred to as I miss, madam, and, you know, some older references. My brain feels confused, she says, because I was just in college a minute ago. But much like Shakira, the singer, these hands don't lie. I remember hearing a joke some time ago about this lady who said the garbage truck was passing her yard and, you know, didn't pick up her garbage. So she was running after the garbage truck man, running very fast to catch up the garbage truck, and she kept shouting, hold on, hold on. And the faster she ran is the further the garbage truck was going. Only for her, when she stopped to think about it, my girl was only jogging. In her mind, she was racing, but the body can only manage a jog, right? So these are some things that happen. You know, there are some limitations that come with aging. And so this afternoon, we want to explore this whole issue. And with us, to help us to explore it, we're going to have a panel, including Elder Wins, Elder Buckley, and Elder Samuels. And to facilitate that discussion will be our own Sister Sonia Smith. Thank you so very much. And please, feel free to participate in the discussion as it progresses. Thank you.
want to sit at the end. You all focus. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good. All right. Good to be here. Can I just quickly point out that Sister Ludford indicated that I'm facilitating. You understand what that means?
Yes. You're not in the category.
Absolutely not. Yeah. I have not moved a day from 35. Not a day. And don't intend to either. But no, 35 is good. 35 is good. All right. So this whole matter of aging and how we age and why is it that people feel that they are old and some of us feel that we are never old? Aging is a process. It starts from you were born, and so each day you age. But as soon as you get to 29, a matter of fact, before you get to 29, because I recall when I was 19, and my friend had a housemate who was 27. And I put down a laughing after the girl one evening. Oh, you're so old. Gee whiz, 27, you're old. Look here. I never realized when I got to 27. And I didn't have anybody laughing at me because, boy, right now I realize that 27 wasn't old at all. But if you're thinking about numbers and how numbers progress higher, then you're going to think that at 18 and 20, you're going to think 27 is very old. And 30 is worse. My girlfriend cried, she bawled, she hollered, nose not come when she got to 30. Because then she said, God, I am old. But a lot of people say too that age is just a number. Is it really? Did anybody read a book on aging? Did any of my panelists read a book on aging? How you age and so on? I'm still looking for it, right? So if anybody find the book, please just loan it to me because I want to read about this aging thing. Because nobody taught us about aging, right? Not a soul. So you didn't know what to expect, and suddenly you are 40, and you are 50, and you are 60, and 65, and pushing 70. And nobody told you what would have happened in this journey of aging. So we have a very erudite panel up here of 3 ladies, as young as they feel. But I know they have traveled this aging journey. And so we're going to ask them this evening to just tell us, how was the journey for them? Was it what they expected? Did they expect anything? But what has been that journey and what has gotten them to where they are now, and they are not afraid of the age. So, Sister Sam, you want to start and tell us about your journey in this aging process?
All right, I have a confession to make before. Sometime in my teens, I said that when I reach 35, middle age, I wouldn't take any more photographs. On my 34th birthday, I took a portrait. Fine. When I was 35, I took another one. Fine. When I was 40, I took one. You know where it is? I mean, I put up the other two. Yeah. But when I look at my portrait at 40 years old, tell you the truth, brethren, I'll know it not put up. And believe you me, I put it away and forgot about it. It was only when I was moving is me buck up on it again, because I really decided that I wasn't going to show anybody that one. I couldn't believe that I had changed so much in 5 years. Sometimes the years just creep up on you. Things that you expected to do, you know, as you age, don't really turn out like that. Besides the photograph, what got me thinking that I was really aging. I told you it was that photograph I took on my 40th birthday, which I don't show anybody, and which I don't even know where it is right now. But 40, I had my children in my 20s, so in my 40s, they were ready for college. So it's a different ball game. I mean, they're growing up, you can deal with them, they get to be teenagers, but when college years come and they're leaving the house and going out, then they're leaving the nest, as Sister Marjorie said, then you start to worry. And also, I recognize that in my 40s, I wasn't as strong and agile as I used to be. For instance, the first thing that happened was that I changed jobs. The job that I was in for 20 years, the company went into receivership and I had to find a new job. I was offered a job in Kingston by the same, the owners, the same organization. Believe you me, brethren, when I thought of getting up to go to Kingston in the mornings, I couldn't manage it. I mean, in my 20s, it would be a breeze. But I recognized that I couldn't do it, so I chose not to go to Kingston. So I left a manager's job and went to be a secretary. Simply because I found out that I couldn't take the stress and the hassle of traveling to Kingston to work. I decided to stay right here, and I took a secretary's job. And it worked out fine anyway. God being on my side, it worked out fine, because the first thing is that they close at 3 o'clock on a Friday, and that was good for me. So besides, even the pay was much smaller than it used to be. Besides that, everything worked out. The next thing that I recognized when I reached my 40s is that your health. You're not so healthy anymore. I had major surgery in my 40s. That's another big change. And the next thing, as you grow older, then more responsibilities. I got much more responsibility in the church. So when you're growing and you're coming up, all the things that you want to do, all the big things that take energy and stuff, make sure you do them before you're 40. When you come to 40, brothers and sisters, men and women, it's a different ball game. So the changes, and then the thing is that it creeps up on you because sometimes you don't even know. I remember you saying a while ago, the lady said she looked on the hand, the whole person's hand, doing this and doing that. It's the same thing. You just suddenly realize you're in your 40s, you're not strong anymore, you're not so healthy anymore, and you have a lot of responsibilities, but it's life, and you have to deal with it.
Thank you very much, Sister Sam. All right, so we're going to come over to Sister Wint, right? Why did I do that?
That's right. You're so right.
Apart from that. Okay, so you're not clicking this evening at all. Sister Sam and Sister Wint are both retired persons, right? So that's one retiree's perspective of the 40s. Let's hear the other.
Well, first of all, when I was 40, these were not near 40. So my 40 is a different period from their 40. Growing up, 40 seemed like it was aeons away. So when people were like 40, I didn't see myself reaching 40 for a long time. Just when somebody said they're 40, and I mean, I'm the last of 9 children, so I like when my other sisters reach 40, it just come like boys, ages before me. So me not going to reach there, plus me a number last. So me not going to reach there, so for now. However, I got I think my job helped me to appreciate and to live with 40. Because as you know, I was in education and I had young people around me. And believe me, that helps. That helps a whole lot. Because whether you like it or not, you have to keep young. You have to know. If I ever tell you some things that happened to me that I learned, I'm in church? Okay. Let me tell you some of the things that came to me, because it was when I was in my 40s that I became principal of the school. So as a classroom teacher, you don't know some of the ins and outs that take place, but when you're a principal, lots of things come to your ears. A sense of humor has kept me, and that helped me to deal with 40. So I remember in the early days, one of the most awful experiences that I had came early. And this lady, I came to this church, I don't think she came into the church afterwards, but she was a parent. And she came to me, Sister Sonia, because she had children at the school, and this one was giving a lot of trouble. I was very ignorant, right, Millicent? You didn't know what I'm telling you now. When I became a principal, ignorant of all the things that happen and the things that people tell you. So I called her in, and I was talking to her about the behavior of this particular child and what can be done. And believe me, she was an elderly person. And she said to me, "Teacher, because me have the children them so quick from one another. And sometimes you don't even have the time nor the energy to deal with them." And she mentioned one who had a physical challenge. I don't want to mention the challenge because probably you could trace the person. And this one had a physical challenge, and this one so on and so forth. I'm looking to make sure I'm in good company, I can say it. And this elderly lady, with me in my 40s, early 40s, she said to me, "Sister Ludford," so I said, "Then why you have them so fast?" Because she tell me the age, in how many years, how many children she has. And I said, "Why you have them so fast?" And she said, "Teacher, if me go under the bed, my husband come. And so me just get pregnant every time. And me just start to cry." Because I was so sorry for her. You understand? So one of the things it came home to me to say, that there are situations that happen in the mature life. Because if it was a teenager, say to me, or a young 20-year person, I don't think it would have impacted me. But here was this lady who was probably in her 60s. She was talking to somebody who was much younger. But I realized that some of the problems that a woman can face, and I so empathized with her. That's the first time I remember crying, just empathizing with her. And I said to myself, "But you have to be more mature than this. You have to be more mature than this." I remember that I had to learn new skills. I had to learn new skills. Because my children, I didn't have mine in my 20s. My first child was born late down. She said she wished she knew me good when I was 30. Okay. So then, they were young, and we were enjoying relationships. But then, you recognize as dealing now with teenagers, and it came full force, the kinds of things that you have to prepare yourself for. And being in teaching also, you have to learn. One of the skills I learned was that you have to leave school at school, or else you carry it home and mash up your family life. So I learned new skills to deal with some of my personal life. For example, I used to say that when I drive out through the school gate, I leave Denby behind me. And I was then living up at Hillcrest Avenue above Junior there. And I used to say that I used that time just to get back to me. Just to get back to me. Is that about what happens up at the house? Is that what happens at Denby? That time is just for me, so that I could make the transition. So when I go in, at least I could relate to my children, not as part of the school situation, but a part of my home situation. So 40 for me meant that I had to mature very quickly. And I had to recognize that in order to have home and school operating successfully in both, there was a lot of strain and stress on me, and I had to learn how to deal with that. And I think I did. I think I did in time. I think I did in time. Now, in terms of my personal life, I had some challenges, and that learning to, I mean, all of you know that I'm divorced, and there were things that were not going right in my marriage at the time, but not to the extent where the decision was for a divorce. So it also gave me the opportunity to mature in order to deal with young children inside of that house in a way where things were not going as they should, but at the same time to maintain at least a fairly healthy family life. So there were a lot of things I had to learn. And what I think, though, it had the effect of making me into something different than I would want to be, because you're saddled with a lot of responsibilities. However, having grown up in the church, and my mother had died already, so I didn't have a mother to relate to, and my sisters had migrated except for one other one. So it was really just like, you know, didn't have a lot of family support around me, but I had good friends. And so I learned to, you know, just to deal with those situations. 40. As I went into 40s, I had a health challenge, not the same there. I fell on my staircase. And very early, I damaged 2 bones in my hip, even though they are very close together, pressed together. And so there were certain things that happened to me afterwards. You see me sometimes where, you see me the other day with my neck, and I have pinched nerve and all that kind of stuff. This is a result of the fall. So there were certain things that I couldn't do. And it made my children participate in life at home much earlier. And so even from they were pretty young, though we had helper and all of that kind of stuff, they now had to assume a sense of responsibility in doing certain things. And if now when we sit down and talk, they say, how when Queen Joan comes home, they have to, I go straight up to my room and they have to carry water. Queen Joan calls up from upstairs and says, can I have a bottle of water, a glass of water, please? And they have to trek up there with the water to me. So I say, it's a good thing you used to do it that time, for I wouldn't have you know, because I wouldn't have anybody to call, no. But it becomes a sense of fun and a kind of family bonding when we think about those things and stuff like that. Yes. So my health affected me, but then as I said, because I knew I had to survive, I find a way to survive. I find a way to survive. I was not, what can I say? As you know, I'm not a very outgoing and I didn't run a CC, you know. But you're out, I mean, because I'm not athletic. And when I mean sixth form, me represent my school at Champs. Me run a stadium already, you know. Me out of order. Not because you see me so. Not because you see me so. I mean, forward. You did ever run at your school yet? Yes. Hey, you understand? Yes. So, you know, I was not outgoing, but saddled with all these responsibilities. 40 meant for me that I just had, for example, I believed in exposing my children. And that time, after me get the car, Lord, the little car. If I ever tell you some joke about that car, first of all, we used to have an automatic car which I could drive, but I didn't go for no license. I drive it all the time from Maypen, go up so, because I'm not coming in the town. Then you would remember that in about that time also cars were very short in Jamaica, import license. Sister Buckley, I went to Kingston. My husband was in insurance. So, you know, when him got to his office and me finish my business, me have to wait on him. So I went down, I was walking, and I met this past student. And I just said to him, you can't help me get one car. He said, you want a car? I'm going to send you down to somebody. Sent me down to Stewart's Auto. Went down there, spoke to the lady. The lady said, yes, I can make you get one when they come. Car get. One little Suzuki. You don't even know it. The joke about it is that every time I carry to get it past, the examiner said, me not drive it. Me not driving it. Turn on your left indicator, right indicator, press your brake. You say, me not drive that liquor car for that a toy man, that a motorbike engine. So my car never go on road for the examiner test it yet. So me just get through and gone. You see, I like when you're driving on Mandela, all out in the place, and you go up to like 70. Car just a go so. But it was whose? Mine. I mean, I wait for nobody. So when the car come, I went down there. My husband took me down there, went down there to collect the car. They said, they're not quite finished yet. So me come home. He stayed. I took bus and come home. He was still in Kingston. And me at my yard, who drive in the car? No, my husband. I'm a Bex, you know, because I'm supposed to christen my car. You understand? But me never say nothing. Me supposed to christen my car. And he said, he went down there and he checked, so he carried home for me. Of course, he knows, saying, what me if he said thanks, me can carry home my car. When me see the car on automatic, the car no stick shift. Oh, Lord. So, me can't drive it. Me can't tell you the agony when him carry me go teach me if he drive. And tell me how me say me a teacher. And me, you know what? Anybody married and them husband teach them to drive? No. I say how my head tick. You understand? Because me can't learn. But I'm just telling you, in the 40s, turbulent years. And so, one Thursday, when we went out to drive, I may tell you, man, tell me how my head tick. And I can't forget. He said, boy, look like you do choose every pothole if you drive, you know. I may not say that word, you know. And Sister Sonia, me just say, no, say, me not take no more of this faciness. I may drive, going. I may say Friday morning, Brother Ludford. Me say, me I drive, go to school. Whole night me couldn't sleep. Me change gear in my sleep. Me say, how me I go change the gear? Bypass, most of the highway wasn't being used. So me say, it's Friday, me can't go up arms so still for me can't just manage the brake and the clutch. So me say, how me I go manage? Me say, boy, me I go round, you know. And I can't forget this smile on his face. He just lie down in the bed, so. Because he knows that me not talking to him, but me have to go talk to him because him have to carry me go school. And me not saying a word, you know, all the time me I change gear still. And then, morning me get up and the children, me tell us that they had to take responsibility and dust off the car. All know them vex with me. Me should have son we can clean off car. But them had to clean it off and so on. And me decide already, Sister Michelle, that once me come to the edge of the carport, is down and one lock so. So me face outside, they open the gate, man. And me drive out. And me gone down the hill. Me come out a Bill Jerk there, that is Rapid Sheffield now. Me come out, man. As a matter of fact, me see one girl I go to Glenmuir from half round my way. And me said to the girl, if you want an expedition, come. So she come with me. And she come in at the car and we drive. Confession, me say me never come out a second gear from first to second. Because me never want to go a third. And next thing me have to go gear dog and can't find where the gear is. And go hear it a grit. So 2 gear, straight to school and just drive in so. Man, park. So not a word. When I went, me can't, You see all your sister? Rain fall the day. She was on staff. Me say, now, how me I go drive in this rain and go home? I mean, I want shame now to make it look like me to make somebody carry me home. So her sister say, may we drive your car? And they call Raymond Allen. I said, Raymond Allen, he must drive the Capri. Okay. That are her car now and drive behind. And the whole of we plan, you see, and then drive, make go straight to Bill Jerk. That is out of Rapid Sheffield now. Them gone back, and we just drive nicely, go up and park. So when we were there for worship, now me hear him say, girls, your mother not drive, go to school, she alone today. Me go down to school, go see if she reach, and she reach all right. When me go down the car, park up nice. She don't know how me come back, you know. And all of that. But, you know, one thing I think that helped me survive despite the challenges and the responsibilities and so on, you got to have a sense of humor. And I think I have a sense of humor. I can laugh at myself. And if I have to cry, I can cry, me go in and me shower and make balls until me ball out all the tears. Me want me wash my face, me bathe myself, me come out, me fresh, and me gone. And you not knowing say me cry. I'm not a complainer. And I have learned to deal with difficulties. So the 40s for me was a year of challenges. But I think I overcame them well. I think I had a balanced life. I learned a lot. There was a lot of learning for me in those years. And I think it has served me well, coming on even up to now.
All right. That was quite a mouthful, wasn't it? All right. So, Sister Sam wants to just make a brief comment.
Yes, because I have to leave shortly. Just to let you know that when you have young children and they're growing up, you give them an order and they do it. When they become teenagers and start the 20s, the 19, 18, 19, and 20, you can't do that. You realize that your authority is being challenged now. That happens. That happened to me in my 40s. I had to learn to understand that you don't get your way all the time. And you can't dictate to your children when they become teenagers going up to young adults. So that is something you have to learn. You have to learn again that you cannot just lay down the law and it happens. You have somebody, your young people now are grown and they answer you and they have their own opinions. So you have to be careful about that.
All right, thank you, Sister Buckley.
All right, mine wasn't as adventurous as these two ladies. So as I think about that period of my life, the words of Desiderata comes to me, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. For me, one of the things that I did not gracefully surrender is the fact that I no longer had 20/20 vision. I couldn't deal with the glasses. I just couldn't deal with that. And so I had to grapple with that and come to terms with the fact that I no longer have 20/20 vision that I was so proud about. Because growing up, I always thought that my eyes were my best feature. And so the glasses thing on me wasn't working at all. Yeah, so that was one of the issues I remember dealing with. I got to a point where professionally, I just didn't think that I was where I should be or would want to be. Having just, well, a couple of years before that, having completed my master's degree, I was teaching at Knox Community College, and the thing just became so monotonous. And I remember going into the principal's office and saying to her, I think it's time to move on, and I'm going to tender my resignation. Out of respect, before writing the letter, I went to talk with her to tell her that I think it's time to move on. And she said, She asked, what is it I would want to do? Or what is it that I'm not getting from my current job that I think I would want to have professionally? So I said to her, well, my master's degree is in international relations, and I was thinking of a career in the diplomatic service. And she said, what if she could create something? It wouldn't be quite working in the diplomatic service, but she would create something that would help me to use some of those skills that I acquired doing the degree in international relations. And I said, okay, I will give it some thought. And bless her heart, she created an international office and gave me responsibility, because at the time, Knox had a lot of relationships with universities overseas. We had a lot of exchange programs and those kinds of things. So she put me in charge of all of that. And whenever we had any overseas visitors, I would be the one to greet them and to take them around and all of these kind of things. So it was exciting, and I enjoyed doing that, so I stayed. And I think finally the last thing that I grappled with in my 40s is that I came to the conclusion that I was not going to get married. I would remain single, and so I tried to figure out and learn how to make the most of singleness and to enjoy singleness. So that was that period for me.
Thank you very much, Sister Buckley. All right, so I tell you, at 35, right? Yeah. Okay. But as you age, there are some things you take note of, and some things you don't realize that they're happening. So one day, I must have had more time this day to put lotion on my skin, right? And I saw these white spots on my leg. Look here now. I almost passed out because I don't know what these things are. And then somebody said age spots, yeah? Start looking to see if you have any there. You might miss them. Yeah? Listen, I was not a happy camper at all. I'm not somebody who wears shorts and short clothes and so on. But still, if they were all up on my leg, and I don't like beach, so I'm not putting on a bathsuit too often. But it's down on my lower leg down here, so. Where, if I have a skirt, it going to show. So the age spot thing. And then I noticed that my hair not so thick and nice like it used to be, right? All of that come with aging. You lose hair. Just here. Anywhere you have hair, you lose hair. And that frightened me quite a bit.
And not only lose hair, hair grows some places where they're not supposed to grow.
There you go. And this is all with the aging thing, right? And I think it was in my 40s that I found out that I was diabetic. I was laying down one night going off to sleep, and I felt like there was maybe an earthquake or something. So my son, who, when I don't allow him to sleep with me, he'll sleep in front of my bed on the mat that is in front of my bed. So I wake him up. Then, you feel the place shaking? He said, no, sir. I said, all right. But I know something was wrong. And then I went to the doctor like a couple days after, and I found out I was diabetic. That was in my 40s. And then all sorts of little things start happening. In a little while, we're going to hear a clip from Dr. What's her name again? Dr. Gale, that will help us with the medical side of the aging thing. But as an individual, you really notice that things start happening. Now, I like to climb, right? So I will climb a tree. So I have an ackee tree at the back of the house, and I wanted to get the ackee. So I'm still thinking that I am in my teens, yeah? So I decided I'm going to climb and pick my own ackees because there's nobody there to pick them. And I climb and I pick. Okay. So, oh, you're going to come down? Oh, you're going to come down after the tree. Oh my God, that was the fun part. It's never funny, because I can't figure out how to get down out of this tree having gone up in there. Anyway, I try. And there was a limb that was lower, so I got on that one and kind of try and swing down like you're doing the pull-up thing. Yeah, so you realize your muscles not so hot like first time, They might get you up in that tree, but then coming down was my challenge. So a lot of, you get the health issues in that age range, and if you don't take charge of it, it is going to stay with you for a long time. Many of us, when we get, at least not many of us, my young friends who are here, when you get past second form, you think you don't need to do PE anymore, because then that is for the first form and second form kids. So you don't want to do that. I want to tell you, had it not been that I was really very active during my growing up through the 20s and so on, because I used to play netball. I did everything I could do at the time. I played badminton. To keep active, it helps when you're getting older, because you find out that you can't build muscles so easy when you age, and so you have the issues with health. I found that I related better, from I was young, very young, I related better to older people. So I was happy that there were people with whom I related who guided me. I remember a friend I had when I just came to Maypen, and she always said, Sonia Smith, some things going to happen to you in this life, but when you reach there, you will know. I still don't know, though, the menopause thing. I don't know if I have gone there. I really don't know. Maybe I need to find out, but nothing is happening with me to tell me that those changes are taking place. I really don't know. I wish I did, but it is not difficult, except for you're trying to do things that you used to do. But it wasn't difficult for me to go through my 40 years. It wasn't difficult at all. All right, so in terms of the health side of it, Sister Ludford, you want us to do that clip now?
Just while they're preparing the clip, there's something that I want to say for those who are approaching, and that I think, because I was at Maypen Church, and not in the same group of the Forties, but strong social connections in your church. Yeah. We had a whole group of persons who were in the church, and we found things to do together. Yeah. Community work, all that kind of thing. Going to each other's homes and having worship on a Friday evening, going out together. I mean, we never, well, probably it's because we're not as enlightened then, but the 40s and the people nowadays, they like to go out with their special person. But in those days of 40s, we went out as a group, and we went to many places that the whole experience enriched us in terms of what you knew, what you were exposed to. And so I would encourage that instead of just specializing and just staying in your little group, that inside of the church would be so nice to see that people in 30s, Sister Michelle, going into 40s and so on, can find themselves into groups, talk about things, going out together. Don't wait on church trip. You know, you can go out and you learn life and see what is happening, because that is very important in helping to maintain you with all the challenges that you could have. I am not the person to, Brother Paul has his hand up. I don't know if you want to take a question. Same there.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. While in 40s, what becomes of your friends from 30s, 20s, those friends? Do you maintain those friendships, or do you realize that at 40, you are alone?
All right, hold on.
No, I don't think, because I think from my experience, and probably Elder Buckley too, we were in a setting where we were known to each other from before. But as you got up to, it was after university, some of us were after university, some of us, we came home early when university closed. So instead of sitting out and staying on the outskirts, we got together and we did things together. And so I think, even though we may not correspond in the way that probably we, you know, like you call everybody every day, but there's still some connection and bonding with all of those people. And one of the good things as you mature, 40 and going up, is to be able to recount those experiences. They are really, really very important in grounding you and enriching your life, because you're not only, it doesn't only do something for you, but you have something to share with others.
And you maintain the friendships that you had and the people you had around you, 20s and 30s. But with migration these days, sometimes some of them move away. But the thing is that you make new friends. So, and you have the church family. So you still have friends around you. And I realized that it was in this period of my life that I really thought that I want some alone time. So it's not just people around you all the time. You start to feel that you need time to yourself to think about things, you know, where your life is going and so on and so forth.
All right, one of our online viewers is asking the question, if at 40 we were having a harder time believing in God. I don't think so, except that for me, what became a kind of spiritual crisis for me was that my father passed. I was very close to my father. And as I told you, I was working at Knox at the time, doing this international office thing. And so my father was ill. He had like stage 4 lung cancer. And when I learned that he was ill, I was to go overseas to Canada to chaperone some students for an exchange program. And I really didn't want to leave him. And I was saying it to the principal, and she was saying it would really throw off the program if I didn't go, because the nature of the program was that the students would actually work. We're going to Canada for 3 months, and they had to go through a whole heap of rigmarole, get work permit and medical and all of that stuff. And so if I couldn't go, they would have to find a new chaperone and start the process again. And this was like maybe 2 weeks or so before the time we were to go. And I was talking to God about it, and I was asking God to just spare my father's life. I would not want him to die while I was away. 2 weeks into the program, got the news my father died. And it was really a spiritual, it was difficult because I was really mad with God, and I was quarreling with him and saying, God, you don't have to lift up your finger to spare my father. And I beg you to just spare his life. And you know what made me angry too? The Sunday morning, Elder Winter, I remember it like yesterday, when I was about to leave, he was sitting up in the living room. He was an avid cricket fan, Brother Brown. And he had not gotten up or anything in like the last 2 weeks. The Sunday morning, I left him in the living room watching cricket. So I felt a little better. I said, all right, him look like, him all right. And him, yeah. And that gave me the impetus to go and say, all right, he's going to be fine. That for me was a spiritual crisis.
I think probably not so much personally, but I think that in your 40s, for most people professionally, you have gone to a certain level. And the more exposed you are, I think is the more you begin to question some things. And I think your faith settles somewhat in your 40s because you are more exposed to what other people think, what other people say. So you begin to question yourself to see if you can find your grounding. And also, there was, in my experience, there were certain things that happened in my 40s in the Adventist church, which made you question that, is this God's church? Because coming up like in your 20s and your 30s, you're very idealistic. I'm not casting any aspersions, but like going up to the country, when you hear about West Indies colleges, look like them on the second level, and the first level is heaven. No, you don't think that there are persons just like you, adolescents growing up. You believe that they are totally like Abraham, and you understand what I'm saying? That's your picture of them. And then when you hear them sing, Brother Kirkwian, Lord, they're singing like the angels. You understand? So you grow up with that kind of feeling about the Adventist institution, the prime institution. So when you come and like you get over into your 40s now, and you realize, as one of my friends always say, we must remember that pastors can fail. Pastors are, first of all, men sent from God. It takes a little time for you to understand, Sister Brooks, that they are really men subject to like passions, and some will fail. And so that is the kind of question, but never to the extent where I felt that this was not God's church and I was not in the right place.
Okay, and perhaps our online friend would benefit from getting a copy of the book Steps to Christ and reading and see if it will help how they feel about their spiritual life. All right. So Paul asked about friends. Oops. There are people that you might have grown up with who you will remain friends with for your entire life. But then there are people who you meet at the different stages in your life who you are friends with, seasons, Elder Buckley says, in your life, that you are friends at that time. And that friendship may or may not last. So each stage that you get to, you meet people and you remain in a relationship with them. Some you will not, but some will last you a lifetime. So even if I had a friend who, even if I didn't see her for a year or two, the next time we met is as if we never had a break in our relationship at all. And it is not even that we kept in touch a lot. But she knew she could depend on me because I was her friend. And I knew I could depend on her because she was my friend. And that friendship lasted from I was about 18, just out of high school, until the day she died. But in between that time, we were doing different things. We were studying at different times. We had jobs in different areas. But when you are friends, it means just more than the casual relationship that you have with somebody. So no, you don't lose all your friends as you go along. Some of them you maintain for a lifetime, no matter where you are across the world. All right, so can we take that health clip now, please? All right, so while they find this, anybody has any questions, any comments that they wish to make? Questions or comments? No, you're all too young, right?
All seen the caption, live life fabulously in the 40s. We've seen the magazines, all the beautiful ladies on the front looking so elegant. And we've often wondered, how can we do it? Well, let's see these fabulous tips for the 40s. First and foremost, seek God first. Isaiah 26 verse 3 tells us that he whose mind is dependent on God will be in perfect peace. Psalms 91, 14 to 15 assures us of God's perfect protection and deliverance. And Philippians 4 reminds us, do not be anxious about anything. Seek God first. Go to the Bible and claim his promises over your life. Embrace this stage. The 40s is not about fear. The 40s is about wisdom. Love the skin you're in. You are beautiful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Moisturize daily using vitamin A and E products. Wear your sunscreen. This prevents age-related skin damage from the sun. Hydrate. Take a bottle of water with you everywhere you go and refill, making sure you get through at least 8 cups per day. If you have a medical condition that prevents you from doing that, such as liver disease or kidney disease, talk with your doctor to see how much you can have. Check your breasts. Self-breast examination saves lives. Every month, 7 days after your period ends, lie flat and examine both breasts. If you find a lump, don't panic. Go to your doctor and discuss it. In the 40s, mammograms and ultrasounds of the breast become an annual part of your health checkup. Do not be afraid. It is for your own good. The 40s comes along with hormone changes. Yes, our female sex hormone estrogen starts to fall, and some persons become perimenopausal, while others have menopause in their 40s. Embrace all the change. If you are thinking of becoming a mom in the 40s, it isn't impossible. Look at Sarah. Talk to the Lord about it. But you must realize that it may be a little bit more difficult than if you were in your 20s or 30s. And it comes with a higher risk. And so, your family doctor as well as your gynecologist have to come together to plan the perfect time for you. Start taking your folic acid from now. And if you are still single, start praying for the Lord to send you your partner. Folic acid every day, 400 milligrams. That reduces birth defects. Don't forget your annual pap smear. I know it's not the most comfortable exam, but it is necessary. And in some instances, once you've had a few normal pap smears, you don't have to do it every year. Sometimes it's every 2 years. Now, women, listen up. There is this condition that can occur even as early in the 20s and 30s, but may continue through to your 40s. It is called PMDD. It is perimenstrual or premenstrual dysphoric disorder. That's a mouthful, I know. But what happens around the time of your period or when you are ovulating, because of all the hormone changes, you morph into this personality that is so irritable and miserable. And that change in your personality persists for a few days. If you have noticed this, then talk to your doctor about PMDD. You may need to be on primrose oil. For those who do not wish to be fertile, they have already had their kids, they are married and content, then be sure that you are on contraceptives. In the 40s, the intrauterine contraceptive device is probably the best option for you. There is a higher risk of blood clots being on the contraceptive pills. So, speak to your doctor about it. It's called the IUCD, or the Mirena, or copper T. Many women in their 40s feel as if they have reached their peak sexual function. And those who are happily married have to understand that sometimes the men are not necessarily at their peak, because men peak in their 20s. So, have a discussion with your husband as to what your sexual needs are, just to be sure that they are being met. Now, exercise parts of your body, such as your muscles, and exercise your heart. Stay fit. You should be doing 150 minutes of cardiovascular workout every week. So, either you do 5 sessions of half an hour each time, or 3 sessions of 50 minutes. Walking is such a wonderful exercise. Those of us who can swim can do that. Many of us watch YouTube exercise videos, while others enjoy riding their bikes. Whatever it is that you do, keep that belly fat off. It is very dangerous. Maintain your ideal weight. In addition to exercise, you should be eating as if you're back in the Garden of Eden. Stay away from processed foods. Have your nuts, your grains, veggies, water, peas and beans, and cut back on meat or fish. Preserve your bones. In the 40s, you can lose bone mass. Talk to your doctor about calcium and vitamin D sources. Keep your cholesterol normal. Speak to your doctor about getting that blood test done, as well as being screened for diabetes. Know what your blood pressure is and have it regularly checked. Those of us with diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, should get their eye examined every year. And remember, in the 40s, other conditions can pop up, such as glaucoma. Now, I know immunization has been in the news quite a bit. Some shots that you had when you were a child require boosters. Talk with your doctor about measles, mumps, and rubella, tetanus, and even newer immunizations such as hepatitis B. If you have not had chickenpox or the vaccine, talk to your doctor about being vaccinated against chickenpox. How many of us get adequate sleep per night? You should be aiming for 8 to 10 hours every
Okay, we thank Dr. Gale very much for that mouthful, or maybe more than a mouthful of information, which is very important. So I hope we listened and I hope we made notes of what she said. Is there any last word that you would like to give Sister Wint about?
There's something that I'd love to share. When you're in your 20s and 30s, I think your body's metabolism is much sharper, if that is the word. So you can eat a lot of things, and because you're probably more energetic, you burn it. But I tell you, when you reach 40, it is harder for you to lose weight. Harder for you to lose weight. Maybe it's because you're lazier, and sometimes that's the time you get temptation to give up, or not to give up some of the things you used to eat. Believe me, if you're approaching 40, start modify your diet, the things that are good for you, the things that will make you go over in weight, because once you reach 40, it's harder for you to lose what you put on that you don't want. So I'm giving you that advice, please.
Mr. Buckley?
I am thankful for this discussion, and those in the congregation who have not yet reached the big 4-0, please don't brush it aside and say, oh, I am light years away from that. Because Sister Sam spoke earlier about the years creeping up on you. And so it is good to prepare, because if you prepare when all these changes start to take place, physically and otherwise, you won't panic or get into depression. I was sharing with Elder Wynn, my niece, who lives in Canada. When she turned 30, she went into a phase of depression, because according to her age gone off the almanac. She went into depression. So I'm saying, if we recognize that these changes are normal, if we take the advice that the goodly doctor just gave us and try to maximize our health, then we can enjoy our senior years. And I just want to leave us with this passage of scripture, which is very encouraging for the aging process. It's Psalm 71, verse 18. It says, now also, when I am old and gray-headed, O God, forsake me not until I have showed thy strength unto this generation and thy power to everyone that is to come. And the psalmist also says in Psalm 37:25, I was young, now I am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. The Lord will not forsake you in your senior years, seasons of life.
And I'm saying that the foundation that you have now, let it be a solid one. That is what will maintain you as you go older. In the 40s and as you continue on, many of us that you see and you say, boy, they don't look their age, is because something in your past, you learn to deal with it and to accept that God is there to see you through. I want to let you know that there is no other foundation that is as sure as a foundation where you have God first and last and best in your life. It takes you through everything. It doesn't mean that challenges won't come and changes won't come, but you are quickly able to deal with them because you know that there's one on your side who will never leave you nor forsake you. Aging is, well, I read in a magazine and I'll share it with you. Age is a state of mind. It is a state of mind because we have some people who are in their 30s and in truth they are 80s. And we have some people who are 80, but they are 20. In other words, it's how you feel, and your feel impacts your look, and your look impacts your feel. And I'm telling you, when you have God as the center of your life, life is good and will always be good. Enjoy each stage and each phase of your life. There is joy in living.
All right, thank you. There were some hands going up.
You're rearing your own children, but it is quite possible too that you have responsibility for right. So you will find also that you will have responsibility for your parents who perhaps are ailing, they're old, so they have their own illnesses to deal with. You're raising young children, so you're right there smack in the middle. You're juggling the stress of your own family and also, especially if your parents are dependent on you financially, there is also that issue. And there's a lot of stress that comes with trying to juggle both responsibilities. So one thing I would advise, financially, take that into consideration. So I guess it's a moot point that persons, parents ought to be responsible for themselves, but sometimes that is not the case. And the responsibility falls on you. Pay them light bill, buy them medication, this sort of thing. So you have to set yourself in a position that you are able to take care of them. Whether you're going to put any insurance plans in place or you have to go save towards, that sort of thing. But those are serious considerations also that you have to take into mind.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Ludford. Any other comments?
No.
Or any lady down the back? Sister Gail.
I listened very keen to the panel discussion. And I'm asking myself the question, you deal only with people in their 40s. I thought you would think of people in their 60s and over to ask us, how are we coping? How does we feel as people upward? We passed our 40s already, a long time. So me want you to ask us that are over the bridge, are going over the bridge. Right. How are we dealing with our situation? Maybe for our next program, I would really appreciate that.
All right, Dr. Gail. Yes, sir? You're going to Doctor. Sister Gail, thank you ever so much for that comment. This evening's program was focused on the 40s. There will be other opportunities for us to get past the 40s into 50s, 60s, when things get very interesting in our lives, right? So your program is coming up, so look forward for that. Sister Ludford is already planning it, so don't you worry.
Sister Ludford, I am going to ask you, through your ministry, to convene some sessions with some of the 20s and 30s to let them understand that preparation for 40s, 50s, and 60s begin then. It begins then, because it is easy for you to, especially when you just start to work, you just believe you have a lifetime to save and to do things and so on, but the time creeps upon you and you find out that when aging begins to show or begin to catch up on you, and your parents, you might have to assume responsibilities that you are totally unprepared, and that could also be a devastating situation. So I would ask that you, form some kind of, or have some kind of session where some of the avenues and the opportunities that exist to help in that regard could be shared with them.
Just a minute. Just going back to what you just said, Sister Wint and Sister Ludford. When I was nearing my retirement year, we went to a session, and the presenter said that at 40, you should be well on your way with your pension, and you must make sure you have at least 7 pension areas to pull from when you reach pension year 60 and beyond. I asked him, why are you just telling me when I have 4 months to go? So, ladies and gentlemen, men too, you can see me about that. I have the remedy.
All right.
Okay?
All right. That was a free advertisement. We won't charge you today, but the next time we will do that. All right, so what did we learn today? That we're to do things early and don't wait until we are getting into the later seasons. 40s we like to think of as the fabulous 40s. For some it is, for some of us it's not. Have a sense of humor in doing some of the things that you do. Handle things in a mature manner. Learn new skills to deal with your personal life. Value good friends. Learn to deal with difficulties. And adopt the desideratum that Sister Buckley mentioned, to gracefully surrender the things of youth. Sometimes we hold on and try to think that we're young, and we're not so young, but things happen and we have to deal with them. And Sister Wynne spoke about doing things together socially as a church. Do things in your groups, go out, see places. There are many places to go and see. And we can have a very fulfilled life in the 40s for those who are heading there, for those who are there already. Yes, sister?
Question here. Why is the saying that life begins at 40?
You know, I would like to find the person who said that and ask them why their life began at 40. I suppose, though, that my personal view is that when you get to 40, you would have done many of the things that you would have wanted to do. You would have gone to school. You would have had children who are growing. You would have time to do more of the things that you want to do, and maybe not. So I don't even know that that is so true. But it can be. If you plan your life, there are some people who plan their life to the T, you know. They're going to do this, so they're going to school, then they're going to get married and have children, and then they are on cruise control, yeah? And so they're just living and having fun and just doing what they want to do. And we hope that those persons would have been planning, like Brother Brown said, for the days when they don't work anymore. But can I tell you something? I work with the Ministry of Health, yes? And people tell you that they are looking forward to retirement. They're looking forward, they can't wait. But as the time draws nearer, you find that it's not true. They don't want to leave because they are not prepared for retirement. Yeah? Some of them just have bought a house. Some of them still paying mortgage, still sending children to school, and so on. So when people talk about the life beginning at 40, it's for those people who have planned so well that 40, they're cruising, and they know they're heading to retirement, and they prepare for retirement. They know exactly what they're going to do, and they don't have a problem. I remember a lady telling me that, look here, I wait for the retirement to come, and I don't want them ask me to spend a day longer, because by now she had given her life to the Lord. She was ordained as a minister in her church, and she was just looking forward to getting out of work life to do the church life. And she was so happy. We all would want to be that happy when we get to the point that we are about to retire, and now we're going to live the good life. The good life. All right, so, any other comment, Sister Ludford?
I don't want us to become scared of approaching that milestone. I think it's an opportunity also to realize that as we grow older and as we mature, we become wiser from life's experiences. We are then able to provide guidance to those who are younger, right? So we reach that level of maturity that we can say to our youth or teenagers, shot down the bottom of the river, don't go there, right? And I think that particular, level of advice given should be taken by our young people. We've been there, we've done that, and when we say don't do, just follow the little advice. We're older, we're wiser, we're more mature, we're more self-assured also. We don't sweat the small stuff anymore. We look at the bigger picture and allow those things that are, inconsequential to just move away from us, right? So it's not all scary. I mean, I really don't know about, the 40s, because I haven't yet gotten there, but it's not all scary from what I've heard, all right?
Before Brother Clive reads,
a few years to go.
I'm telling you that this life at 40 begins at 40. It is true in another sense, too, that you are more mature. When you are younger, you tend to be, like old time people say, you're giddy. And you make kind of some decisions about your own life and about the things you think are important. But there comes maturity. And you understand that, listen to me, what you think was fun and what you think was good, that's not it. This is quality life. I think you begin to enjoy quality life. You begin to see things from a more mature perspective, a wiser perspective. Not only can you guide somebody else, but you also guide your life in a more meaningful way. So you begin to see quality life. I think that's also part of it. Brother Clive had something to read.
Titus 2, verse 3 to 5. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed.
Thank you very much, Brother Ludford, for those thoughts. And I'll just add to that, Proverbs 16:31. Gray hair is a crown of splendor. It is attained by a righteous life. And for our young men, or men generally, the glory of young men is their strength, and the beauty of old men is the gray head. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day.